Built in 1914 and imagined by Henry Pittock himself, the mansion still sits tall today on a gorgeous hillside in its French Renaissance style looking over an industrialized Portland, Oregon. But when Henry and his wife Georgiana died, did they ever really leave? What other souls wander the halls and grounds of this beautifully haunting mansion? Family? Friends? Possibly foes? With rooms and halls that stretch as far as one's eyes can imagine, could someone spectral still be lurking around behind each and every one of its corners? Only way to find out is to lean into fear and knock. Welcome to the Pittock Mansion. Enjoy your visit. When venturing out in the hills of Portland to pay a visit to the haunting residents of an even more haunting mansion, one must dress their best. Once suited up and dressed to the nines, I took my drive up a winding and wooded hill into the ever so massive and must-see hotspot for tourists and haunt enthusiasts. The Pittock Mansion. The Pittock Mansion was lived in by Henry and his wife Georgiana for only about 4 years before they both passed on to the other side. Georgiana went first. Henry soon followed, and their family and legacy lived on through the mansion and the impact they left behind on Portland.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Many guests and folks that have worked the mansion have all shared that they've had some haunting experiences, but nothing too frightening in a place that's considered home. It's no wonder their spirits, along with their past groundskeeper, are still seen sauntering about their beloved home. So much work, time, and effort went into the making of this prestigious place. If I was a ghost, with a place like this as my humble abode, I'd be determined to haunt it like the Pittocks for the rest of my undead life. Maybe I could. Henry Pittock headed west for the Oregon Trail when he was 19 years old. Barefoot and penniless, he was determined to find his success. He started as a typesetter for the Oregonian, and eventually grew to become the owner of it all, making decisions that were financially risky and competitive that would lead the Oregonian to be the success it is continuing to ride and ride out to be. He built a life of adventure for himself and his family through real estate, banking, railroads, steamboats, sheep ranching, silver mining, and of course, the paper industry. He built a life that, in return, helped build Portland into what it is today. The Pittocks, on paper, were very giving people, contributing to charities and cultural organizations of all kinds. Georgiana Pittock was the founder and fundraiser for many of these efforts with the likes of the Ladies' Relief Society, Women's Union, and the Martha Washington Home. They not only helped build Portland, but build up many of its people. While this mansion is haunting itself, there's nothing about the spirits that continue to linger here that make it feel like you need to run for the hills. In fact, it holds this great feeling of a craving for company. Feeling this feeling, I got myself a ticket to tour, headed through the doors, and was met by staff that welcome you to explore the stories of the past. Stories lie everywhere in a home of this size. Everywhere you looked held a life, held a family, held an experience, and now, in this moment, holds you. Family, and the family cat, immortalized forever through painted portraits, busts, pictures galore. It's wild to think that right where you're standing, a party was being celebrated, a dinner was being had, a laugh was being shared. So much holds a haunted home. But it also makes me wonder, what holds the Pittocks that makes them so haunting? The Pittocks held so much life and speculations with many stories behind their stories, especially a man like Henry Pittock. When you live a life of much success, general positivity, and many prosperities, enemies are sure to be lurking behind every corner, looking to uncover the unseen. Henry was a man of many feuds. Amongst several of Henry's famous feuds, most notable involving the mansion, stem from Portland City Council member and once employee of the Oregonian, Will H. Daly. He accused Henry Pittock of inappropriately using taxpayer money to build a private water line through his estate. Henry discredited the accusations and proved that the water line was constructed outside of the city line. And while the truth of taxpayers paying for it rang true, the truth faded away. Daly only wanted to prove that this was a problem and wanted to bring water to all properties in Portland. Despite having won the dispute, Pittock used his powers to bring an end to Daly's political career. When you have an entire newspaper on your side, your word is the word, whether it's true or not. Even though the Pittocks held many powerful promises and deliveries in the ever-expanding city of Portland, Henry also caused immense harm with his actions and his words. With ghosts comes skeletons in their closets, and Henry's skeletons were rather questionable. Sure, Henry Pittock had an inspiring pull-yourself-up-from-the-bootstraps story toward success, but with the success came a competitively aggressive nature that he fully leaned into. He broke promises while he built foundations. He harmed communities of color and caused great division through racist rhetoric in the Oregonian. He performed exploitative business practices. He was a man that took from the many mouths that he also fed. He was a historic and ruthless success story. But success isn't necessarily always a positive synonym to be described as when it all depends on how you got there to begin with. He's a wildly complex character, where many things about him and the legacy he built and left behind holds great spectacles and much deserved speculations. The history of the Pittocks is as fascinating as it is haunting. Both can be true at the same time. Building a life. Building Portland. The Pittocks left behind stories to live beyond. Stories of progress as well as profound harm. A hauntingly beautiful home that lurks over Portland, riddled with a complex history of ghosts with skeletons in their closets to be reminded by, through historic tours, and quite possibly, ghost sightings. But as always, don't just take my word for it. Wander through the winding roads and trees to take a look at the spooky beauty yourself. See what calls out to you. Who knows what frights might bump into you through these haunting halls. Pay your respects. Or don't. Draw your own conclusions. See what words hold you when you adventure through this haunted mansion. Dress the part. Build a life. And make your own experience a story worth telling. Welcome to the Pittock Mansion. Enjoy your visit.